after my husband died, I just gave up. I just didn't want to be bothered with anything. And I got weaker and weaker, and I just wasn't actually able to walk because I was weak. And then they said, well, when you'll have to go for therapy and some to strengthen your limbs and come back. So look where I am now.
Sitting still is not going to help. Exercise is what helps everybody.
Absolutely.
And that's the way I
the
feel,
exercise.
and that's the way it is.
All right, ladies, welcome.
Thank you.
It's a privilege and an honor to have the two ladies with us who are 90, who've reached a milestone and in their 90s. I won't tell you how old exactly they are, but it is a milestone that I think is inspirational to a lot of folks who are following us, a lot of folks who are coming to us. So I thank you for your time, for sharing your wisdoms and your knowledge with us. Why don't we start off with Mary?
Yeah.
If you could tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about what you love to do. Mary.
I came to the country in 1954, February 22nd. And I had two sisters here, but I cried for a whole year. But it took me 4 years to get the money to go home. And by the time the 4 years were up, I began to like the country and was happy. I went home for 3 months, came back, and I used to work in shops as a waitress. And I met my husband in 1958. I was selling tickets from the St. Patrick's Fathers, and he said he'd buy a ticket if I gave him my phone number. And that's how we met. I gave him my phone number. And then we got married in 1962 and had 3 children. You know, one of them, Breda, you know, Maureen too comes here. She comes here. My son Brian is up in Pearl River. And we have 14 grandchildren, 7 boys and 7 girls. I said, that's it. Don't mess up the count. That's enough. That's enough. So,
let's cap it.
But when I left Schrafft's, I worked for Al Pacino, the actor, to cook his meals for him. And it was really nice.
Oh.
And the super was missing one day, and he came near. He says, "My sink is blocked." So the super wasn't in that day. So I went down and I got a plunger and I came up and he came in and he said, "Mary, what do you do?" I said, "I'm freeing your sink." And he said, "You should do that. Desi should do that, the guy." I said, "He's not here." So I'd say freed his sink. And then after that, I worked, there was a family next door to him, 9 East 68th Street in Manhattan. And they asked if I'd come to work for them. And I did. And they had 1 child, but they're always traveling, so I always brought the child home with me for the weekend or whatever, and bring him back down to Manhattan again on Monday morning. And I raised him, and he got married, and now he has 3 children. I was at the wedding in Central Park in the boathouse. He got married there. It was really nice. And they were really good to me. Because I worked hard for them. I did everything because other people, Kitty Carlisle, you remember Kitty Carlisle?
Sure, I do.
She lived next door to them on 32 East 64th Street. And she used to have 2 or 3 people working for her. But with the Ingrams, I was only the one person working. I did everything for them. Their laundry, their sewing, whatever they wanted, I did it. The brass, the silver. But they were good to me every Christmas. Because I guess I was only the one person, they gave me 10 grand every Christmas, which was a nice bonus. And I never had to pay for transport. They always gave me Metro cards. And that's it. I retired then at the age of 82. That's it. You know, begin to enjoy life.
Wow.
That's my life.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
You did the work of you did the work of two people.
Yeah.
You definitely did the work of two people.
Plus, taking care of my own children and raising them. But that's how it was.
Quite a bit. That's
Uh-huh.
funny you got there.
Mhm.
All right, moving into Shirley. Tell us a little bit about who you are and where you're from, and a little bit about what you love to do.
My life was not as interesting as hers. However, my name is Shirley Laredo. I live here in Yonkers for the past 25 years. Prior to that, I lived in the Bronx, and that's where I raised my two sons. I was a stay-at-home mom for many years. And then in the 1960s, all the women started going back to work. And my next door neighbor, who was a teacher, said, listen, they need school aides at the school down the block where your sons go. Why don't you try to get a job there? So I got a job as a school aide, and I took care of kids. And then I said to myself, this is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. So I applied for secretary in a high school position. I took the exam, and thank God I passed. And I became a high school secretary. I met the nicest people in the world that I never would have met if I did not work in the school system. However, when I started out, I had told my assistant principal that I passed the school exam, and he said, I have no position for you. I had to start calling around the high schools because if I went down to the Board of Education, they would send me wherever they felt like sending me. And I wanted to stay in the Bronx at that time. I went to work at the Bronx High School of Science. I don't know if you're familiar with that school.
Yep.
It's one of the best schools in the Bronx. However, every time the budget was cut, the last person on the totem pole was accessed, and that was me. So I was accessed. I called Truman High School to see if there was any positions open. Secretary said no. Suddenly, I got a phone call at home from a man called Mr. Trotner, the assistant principal at Truman. He said, my wife plays mahjong with a lady who said that a lovely lady was accessed, and that's why I'm calling you. So I went in, I was interviewed, and I worked at Truman High School for 23 years. I had a split assignment. I worked in the college office and in the program office. Today, I don't use a computer because I could hardly see. But in those days, I ran all the programs for all the teachers and the assistant principals because my eyesight was good and I knew how to do it. I retired in 1999, and that's when I moved to Yonkers. The area in the Bronx was getting bad, so we decided it was time to leave. Both sons were out of the house. They were both married. So we just got ourselves a lovely apartment here at Westchester Towers. 2 years ago, I started having problems with my legs, and somebody suggested, why don't you go see Dr. Lee? So here I am 2 years later, and all I could say is it's been the best 2 years of my life.
Great.
He has not only helped me physically, he has helped me mentally. I have loads of fun with them, and I'm sure that they enjoy having me here also. That's the story of my life.
Where in the Bronx did you live?
I lived between Waring and Mace,
Okay.
where PS 96 was on the corner.
I
I don't know if you knew that area.
Tremont
It was
and
a
Walton.
brand new building. I was the first one in the apartment. And my mother lived on the next block. She had an aide, but my mother didn't like to eat from her. I had to stay home every weekend, cook her meals, put it in the freezer so that she would have food for the week.
Very
And
nice.
3 o'clock, the girls would be going out shopping. They'd say, Shirley, you want to come? I say, no, I got to go see my mother. Even though she had an aide, I stopped there every single day for 5 years. because she also had trouble with her eyes.
Oh dear.
And then once we retired, we started traveling. We bought a place in Florida. We went to England. We went to Ireland.
Really?
We went to Paris.
Travel all around the world.
You've been around.
You've been around the block.
Well, once I retired, my husband said it's time for us to start vacationing because we struggled quite a bit to get where we were.
So you enjoyed your life.
We enjoyed our life.
very
The
good.
boys were married. We didn't have to worry about them any longer because no matter how old they are, they're still your children. And we're very, very close today. They
Very
come
good.
every Saturday. They take me out shopping, whatever I have to do.
That's nice.
Take me out for dinner. Look, they do the best they can. After all, they have full-time positions that require them to be there too.
Sounds like they kind of like you.
Pardon me?
It sounds like they kind of like you and want to spend some time with you, unlike others.
They're pretty good guys. I mean, for guys, because I hear a lot of women in my building who are younger than me. My children, they have no time for me.
Oh God. My
Well,
children are always around me.
That's
I
when
mean,
that's when you get a good
depends
relationship.
upon the situation. I don't know. I'm not saying they weren't good parents, but there must be a reason that they don't come.
Absolutely.
Whatever.
Shirley, you kind of just spoke a little bit about this, so we'll start with you. Could you tell us a little bit about the story of your injury and from the very beginning and what led you to call us?
Tell the story of what I didn't quite.
Could you tell us about the story of your injury from the very beginning, about your legs?
Oh,
and what
no.
led you to
No.
call
You
us?
want me to tell you that?
Please.
Okay, yeah. When I was 16 years old, we went to a Halloween party. My girlfriend was babysitting and she had a party in her sister's apartment. It was the first gathering that I went where there were girls and guys. Came 12 o'clock, all the guys ran out. How were the girls going to go home? So we took a cab. There were three of us, and I was number 4. We took a cab, and the next thing I knew, I woke up in the hospital.
Oh my God.
The taxi was hit, and my leg was badly bruised. They took x-rays, and they said I broke my leg. Well, this was at Lincoln Hospital. I don't know if you're familiar with that hospital. And I was unconscious for several hours. And then when I woke up, they put my leg in traction, and they put the wrong leg in traction and
Oh,
sent me
geez.
home. And I'm walking with
Crutches.
and I'm saying to my mother, because they told me, press on this foot and pick up this foot. I said, why is it when I'm pressing on this foot, it's hurting me? My mother said, you know what? We'll go see another orthopedist. Thank God my mother was wise. So we went to another orthopedist, and he said, they put your wrong leg in traction.
Can you believe it?
Would you believe this?
Oh my God.
He sent me to Bronx Hospital, which was on Fulton Avenue at the time. I don't know if it's still there. And he put me in a cast from my up here to all the way down.
Oh my God.
And I had to stay in that for 8 weeks. My friends would come over every day after school. We'd put the records on. They would dance, and I would just be sitting in bed like this. They were entertaining me.
Yes, they're good friends.
In fact, Ellen's husband was friendly with my cousin when they were younger. My cousin would come every Friday and bring a friend, and we'd sit and we'd talk and, cheer me up. When I moved here, I met Ellen and her husband, and we were talking one day, and I don't know how we got onto the conversation. And he said to me, wait a minute, I was in your apartment when you were 16 years old. I said, you were in my apartment? When? He said, isn't your cousin Dave? I said, yes. He said, I was the guy that came up with him. I said, oh, oh, Jerry. I mean, I saw him when he was 16 years old, and now he was maybe 40. Ellen says, oh, I'm glad you knew him before me. Anyway, to make a long story short, I got out of the cast, but they said that my spine would never go back to the right position. In
Oh.
fact, if you touch it now, you'll feel my spine standing out. They said, well, you'll be okay, but maybe when you get older, you'll have pains once in a while. And that's why I came to Dr. Lynn, because I started having pains 2 years ago.
And now you're better.
If it rains, I get twitches. If it snows, I get other things. I can't explain it, but I know that it just doesn't feel right. And when I do the exercises that I've learned at empowerment, it seems to help me.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
So that's the story of my life.
Wow, it started at a very young age.
I was going to have my 16th, this was October 31st, which is Halloween. And that February, I was going to be 16.
Oh my God.
So I didn't have a party because I wasn't up to it. And my grandfather, who lived with us, passed away on my birthday. So my mother said, we're not having any parties. Forget it. So instead of a party, my parents sat Shiva, which, was part of my religion.
What a timing of things.
But that's okay. I don't particularly care for parties anyway, so.
Except the dance parties.
Well, that's different. My husband and I went dancing twice a week once we both retired for many, many years, and we met the most wonderful people in the world.
That's nice.
But you have to adjust to everything in life.
Yes, indeed.
Life is an adjustment period.
Adapt. If there's anything, it's adapt. It's your ability to adapt and adjust.
Right.
Mary, about going back to you, tell us a little bit about the story of your injury and from the very beginning and what led you to call us. I know I spoke with Maureen and Brita in the beginning.
Oh.
About your legs.
I just got old. I didn't have any injury. No injury.
It was
more getting weaker and not having the strength in the legs that I used to have. They brought me here.
I spoke with them. And prior to that, you were fairly active.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what led you to kind of that deconditioning and weakening of your legs and your body.
I think after my husband died, I just gave up. I just didn't want to be bothered with anything. And I got weaker and weaker, and I just wasn't actually able to walk because I was weak. And then they said, well, when you have to go for therapy, and so to strengthen your limbs and come back. So look where I am now.
Because I remember talking to Brita and Maureen and hearing their story about why the doctor had requested in-home therapy
in the beginning.
After hearing your story, I knew something was different. Knowing that you had initially were active and all of a sudden you got deconditioned. That was an incident.
Because I was always gardening and doing different things, and then I couldn't do it anymore. And now I'm back able to do it again. I was gardening today. I was to get my leaf blower and blow the leaves away off my yard and bag them.
Sounds like your spirit is back up to where it needs to be.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, it's really helping here. Therapy really means a lot to me, making me much stronger.
One of the things we do here is, one of the things we say that we do here is we don't do physical therapy. We do therapy that happens to be physical.
Yeah, absolutely.
Going back to you, Shirley, how long did you suffer and waited for before making the decision to see us?
How long did I suffer?
How long did you suffer and waited for before making the decision to see us?
Well, I never believed in physical therapy. I felt it was just like a Band-Aid. However, after coming here, I've been to 2 other physical therapy places. All they do is either put heat or ice. Your place is the only physical therapy that I've been to where they don't have any such thing. And I said to Dr. Lynn, Dr. Lynn, how come you don't have heat or ice? He said, we don't do that. We do therapy in a different way. I don't know what you call it, the wand, the thing.
The roller,
Right.
massage roller.
We do that, and I went out and I bought it, and I have it at home. And then he tells us, take a ball and put it on your back of your and roll it up and down, and you feel pain. And when the pain subsides, it feels better. So I went out and bought the ball. They give me exercises to do. They gave me the elastic things, what do you call them?
The bands.
So I have that at home. So what do I need Dr. Lynn for? But I still come twice a month because we have such a great relationship that I enjoy coming.
Yeah.
And I feel I might as well
Why not?
continue. I feel better when I come.
Yes.
I'll be truthful. I'm not always the best patient at home. I'll do it one day, the next day I'll say, I'll do it tomorrow.
I think we know that. We know that.
But when I come here, I have to do it.
Yeah.
And I
That's
also
good.
ride the bicycle, which I find is very helpful. So to me, that's the best thing in the world. People say physical therapy. I say, Dr. Lynn, on Tuckahoe Road.
We appreciate that. We appreciate that. We can
I
help
do.
someone else the same way we helped you. And we may not be able to help everyone, but that's why we kind of have that conversation initially to make sure that we can help first before we get them,
Right.
before they become a patient of ours.
It's great help. This is great for me. Therapy.
It's great therapy, and
It
they're
is.
very pleasant to work with.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Going back to you, Mary, I know you had Maureen and Brita kind of call on your behalf to kind of seek out for help when your doctor prescribed it, home PT for you. How long did you wait before making that decision to see us?
I didn't get home therapy.
Okay.
I didn't. I went to some place up Central Avenue. I forget the name of it. And I went there for a while because at that time I had fallen and broken my wrist. And I was going for therapy for the wrist. And that was good too. It helped me. And then when I was getting weaker again, and then decided I had to go for therapy. And the doctor, I think the doctor said that this was the best place to come. That's why we're here. I'm glad they made the right decision. I like this place a lot better than the one on Central Avenue.
What do you like the most about?
Well, everybody's so nice here. Everybody we meet is nice. And what's that girl's name? She's so sweet.
Dr. Ann.
God, she's so nice. She's so pleasant. Love to come to see and just talk to her.
You're not the only one. Absolutely. What were you, Shirley? What were you missing out on what that stopped you from doing before coming to see us?
What stopped me from what?
What did you miss out on before coming to see us?
What I missed out on?
Yeah. Or what did the leg injury kind of stop you from doing before coming to see us?
I tried to do whatever I can, but whenever I had a pain, I just sat down. I stopped doing what I did. And once I came here, my legs started to move a little bit better again. So that's all I could tell you.
You're getting better.
There are days I feel I'm getting better, and there are days where I'm not that great. Depends upon the day. I don't know. I guess, like everybody says, you know, at our age, you don't know from one day to the next.
You
So when
don't.
you get up in the morning, if you have a good day, you say, "Thank God, I had a good day." And if you don't, you just say, "Well, just grin and bear it."
Tomorrow will
People
be
in my
better.
development call me the trooper. Why? Because I go out every single day. I live up on a hill, and I walk from my building to the next building, which is quite a ways, all by myself. Other people, there are a lot of women in my building that, "Oh, I got a pain. I can't move." Well, that pain will go away if you try to do something, exercise.
Yeah.
Sitting still is not going to help. Exercise is what helps everybody.
Absolutely.
And that's the way
Need
I
the
feel,
exercise.
and that's the way it is.
Do you want us to leave now? Do you want us to quit?
No,
No, we're doing so good.
Keep going. Keep going. The next thing we kind of talked about is once you kind of get back to doing the things you wanted to do, that's the first step. The next step is to how to keep the progress that you've made up to that point and keep you kind of going.
I don't know.
Hey,
How was lunch?
good, good.
You have to go back to work.
She's wondering what's going on here, right?
I'll go with you now.
Yeah, in like 5 minutes, because I gotta be back for a conference call.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Yeah, you got it. We'll
I know
wrap up.
she's working.
So, what else did you guys try that didn't work? Did you try any other places,
No.
things that
I
didn't
didn't.
work for you?
I went to 2 therapists years ago. I didn't have the same problem I had now. They were okay. Like I said, they did the same thing every day. They took a ball, they put it between your 2 legs, and you had to do exercise. Then they would put heat, and then they would put ice. That's all they ever did. I felt they helped me for the moment, but a few months later, I was back where I started. Whereas coming here, there's no ice and there's no heat. There's just strictly exercise.
Which is great.
And that seems to take it out.
Yeah. Yes.
And now that you've experienced empowerment physical therapy, if your friend or family member has pain and they were procrastinating over going to see someone, what would you tell them about physical therapy and us?
Well, I told them that physical therapy is wonderful. In fact, I wanted my son to come here, but your hours don't coincide with his hours because he's an accountant and you're on your way home before he comes home. So it's impossible. He goes where he goes, but he says he's not happy with it. So
Do you ever want us to kind of jump on the phone and kind of we can hash out a couple of things so maybe see him via telehealth to kind of make sure the hours work for him? That might be an option. Just something to think about.
the hours he comes home, first of all, from November until April, he gets home 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Oh,
Tax
God.
season, forget it. When is he going to call you?
How about the mornings?
He has to go down to Manhattan. He's out of the house 7 o'clock and on the train, and it's a very rough schedule. It's impossible. I tell him, you better take care of yourself because your job will not help you. But, you don't just quit your job because you want. So he grins and bears it.
About you, Merritt, what would you tell someone now that you've experienced empowerment physical therapy? What would you tell someone, friend or family member who might be kind of going through a similar issue as you?
I would advise them to come here. A lot better than going to Central Avenue to that other place I went one time. Here, I like this the best. And they're more helpful here. I feel stronger even when I'm leaving here. And because I met a lady yesterday and she was wondering where I was going from. And I must get that card. I couldn't explain to her where you're located. So I had to take a couple of those cards.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll give it
Yeah.
to them. And then last question, last but not the least, what advice, given that you've made it up to in your 90s, that this is obviously a milestone that a lot of people achieve and want to be aspire. What's your secret to living up to this point in your life? that
I
you would
keep telling you, I eat no dairy, no eggs, no cheese, no milk. Just meat and vegetables and fruit.
How about you, Shirley?
Oh, I watch myself because I'm diabetic.
Well, you
So
are?
I do not have a lot of stuff with sugar. Like my neighbors are always coming in with a piece of cake, this and that. I
You
say,
can't.
please don't try to tempt me. I just will not have it. I try to do exercise every day as much as I can. Watch your food intake and just go on and be merry. Don't make a big story about every little thing because there's no end to it. Life goes on, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you don't tell yourself, I'm going to have a good day today, then who's going to tell it to you? Nobody.
100%. Thank you.
That helps those who help themselves.
Thank you. Thank you for taking time out. This is
All
fun.
right.